there's Kevin with the Rogue Deck Builder here with this week's episode of the Market Monday. Hey, even that's an early Market Monday, not on a Tuesday, not a Wednesday, but on a Monday afternoon? What is this? What is this sorcery? Anyway, I thought I'd give a midsummer market update. We've had a lot of volatility in the market, and it seems like things have finally calmed down. I'm going to give the explanations for it and maybe give an outlook on where I think the market is headed for the end of summer and into September and into the fall and into the winter. So typically, historically speaking, summers are terrible. They've always been terrible. You can go back to years of like 2019, 2018, 2017, and you always have a market slump, especially when they put out a specialty set during the summer. That always seems to gobble up all the money that has been allocated towards Magic the Gathering, and singles prices crash, other sealed products crash besides and even the latest set crashes. And we kind of have a similar market going right now with Modern Horizons 2 just gobbling up all of the money that was available for Magic the Gathering. And I think this is actually a sign that Magic is in a better spot than most people would have predicted. Now, let's go through some past here. Of course, we had the lockdowns, we had all the free money, we had the crypto money, we had everything that just led to the perfect storm for Magic the Gathering and other collectibles just to skyrocket in price. And now we're seeing a return to normal. This isn't something that's sustainable. People were able to just make, I had some casuals make the worst investments imaginable and actually make out because when you have such an influx of money into the system, especially when it is into basically what I consider the free money, that money went to many people that didn't need the money, that were still working, that just never had a $1,500, $1,400, $1,500, $2,000 paycheck where it was just basically you could spend on whatever you wanted to. And they did just that. People in their 20s and 30s splurged on all of those things they could never afford. So we saw record sales in things like the reserve list or like collector's edition packs or some of these older sets that, hey, I never was able to buy an Amonkhet box, I'm going to splurge on Amonkhet. And we saw prices just spike through the roof for those particular ones. I guess I can start showing some data here rather than showing my thumbnail here. We can go over and check out one of my favorite sites, which is Dawn Glare. And there's just been some massive movement in the expected value of a lot of these, or not the expected value, the sealed prices versus the expected value. Many of these have been very stagnant throughout the course of the last year, to where they at the early years of 2020, we did see a lot of these prices for the expected value booster boxes just skyrocket. But we've actually seen most of them go back down, yet the sealed prices have stayed very high. In fact, I don't think that there was any Pioneer set, even standard sets as recent as Ikoria have gone above their distributor pricing, and both these are actually coming back down to earth as well as far as their set EV. But it's very tough to even find like Throne of Eldraine, Theros, or Ikoria at distributor price. Usually you're paying about $5 to $10 more than you would if they were still available from the distributors. So we do see that Kaldheim and Zendikar Rising are actually faring quite well with all of the amount of product that was thrown in. But I think the name of the game for 2021 was investing in some of these older sets and the specialty products, and we were able to see that the mass amount of printings from Secret Layers to like Modern Horizons 2, Double Masters, all of those in a very short window that usually the market can't handle, be able to absorb all that money. And we've still, the best sign with Magic the Gathering is even though it's kind of stagnant, kind of flat at the moment as far as sealed prices are concerned, a lot of singles, reserve lists, that sort of stuff, it's not crashing, which is actually a very good sign going forward, because summer months you should see that summer slump, and we are seeing a summer slump, but instead of the normal slump, the going down from its height of just its fall and winter, people playing a lot, and then here comes the summer, people go to outdoors things, but we're only seeing a slump from the overblown free money investment going into the market. And Magic the Gathering is actually faring a lot better than its counterparts like Pokemon. Another good news too that we can compare is even though people hate these comparisons, these markets do seem to be quite tied to each other. So when the crypto market goes down, the Magic and collectible markets goes down as well. We're actually seeing I wouldn't say much of a recovery for the crypto market, but at least it's stopped hemorrhaging, which is a very, very good sign for collectibles as well. And I've started to see the exact same thing with the collectibles markets. They've also stopped hemorrhaging. We saw Pokemon just crash. We're talking 60% of the value. But again, that was overblown. When things like Battle Styles, which ended up being kind of a womp womp set, were going for like 120, that was overblown when there's quite a bit of supply for Battle Styles. It seems like Pokemon has finally got a hold of their supply issues. Even though like the newer sets like Chilling Reign are lagging behind, the supply isn't as bad as it once was, and we have things like Battle Styles, Champion's Path, even Shining Fates begin to recover, which is it's a good sign for Pokemon, good sign for collectibles, that there is still enough money to meet this demand, and we're back to normal. So I actually don't think that it was healthy nor sustainable when we had just the massive growth in collectibles. Where's that money going to come from? Is there going to be another, extraterrestrial planet that's going to come in and add a huge influx of population to the world that wants to buy Pokemon cards? No, we are at the height of what we're going to see for investment in things like Pokemon. Pokemon was having its coming of age, where people that collected Pokemon in their childhood were now in jobs that could actually afford buying that, and we saw just basically anything that said Pokemon on it just go through the roof. And what we're seeing right now is just coming back to Jesus, coming back down to earth where these prices should be, comparatively speaking to where they were. And so that's also the name of the game with Flesh and Blood, also the game with Magic the Gathering, which I think in the overall health of the game, of the collectibles industry, this is a good thing. We can't be Dutch tuliping every 5 seconds with collectible card games and just having the hysteria of people going to Walmarts and getting in fistfights just to open up this product. There should not be that opportunity. That is a very unhealthy market when people can actually go and scalp at Walmart and sell on the eBays and TCG players. Walmart, historically speaking, has always been the most expensive place to get product. You have the high taxes, you have the just higher prices in general than you would be if you go through your local game stores or Amazon or whatnot. And that is a bad sign, a supply issue sign, or what I am still saying it's Dutch tuliping, where investors are selling to investors who are selling investors to they saw like the 400% increase. So, I better get this now. So in 2 years, I won't be stuck not being able with that FOMO, that missed opportunity of making the big bucks. So I think there will be a trickle of supply for still things like Chilling Reign, Battle Bond, Champion's Pass, Shining Fates, all the way back to even like Unbroken Bonds, Darkness Ablaze for Pokemon, because of all the people that misguidedly invested in these products thinking that we're going to have another 2, 3, 400% increase like we saw in 2019 through 2021. So I'm glad it's calmed down. I'm glad that investments have come back down to reasonable. All this does, it sends a missed signal when we have investors preying on investors, speculators preying on speculators, is it sends a missed signal to Pokemon that they need to print more product, and eventually that's just a domino effect where all of the dominoes will come falling down because it is no longer investable and there are no more speculators and buyers to actually buy the product. We've seen this with comic books. We've seen this with Beanie Babies. We've seen this even in the collectible card game market. We saw this with Pokemon back during the Pokemon Go craze, with boxes going nuts, and then we had things like Rebel Clash and some other stinker sets just being fire listed because of too much supply for pennies on the dollar. And I'm glad that we're not seeing the same thing happen with Battle Styles now. It's a good sign that Battle Styles has finally calmed down, and these at least is profitable for stores at this. At least they're breaking even at this price with the TCG player fees and whatnot. Being able to break even or slightly making a couple bucks per booster box, which has been the name of the game since like 2015. It seems like everyone and their mother wanted to start an online LGS or an online store. They saw the ability to make profit. You went into your local game store. Oh my gosh, what do I pay for a box? 120. Oh, distributors sell it for 85. Wow, I can just start my own store and make $10, $15 per booster box. And every Timmy decides they're going to be a millionaire by doing that, and it causes this huge chain reaction of everyone doing it at the same time. And that's what we're kind of seeing right now, is a lot of people getting, losing house and home because of failed investments. And it's a sad thing, but, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. What we saw with 2020 and early 2021 is a lot of people that were not in a position, that didn't have excess capital, that didn't have the experience or the expertise, try their hand in the ring here. They try to throw down the gauntlet, and they're getting burned for it. But the good news, though, is that the hemorrhaging looks like it is starting to subside. Chilling reign still very healthy. This is mainly to do for the lack of supply, but there is wave 2 and 3 on the horizon. Again, this isn't mainly a Pokemon. The whole reason why I'm bringing it up is you can compare a lot with Magic, and Pokemon's kind of overprinting and Pokemon's craze. Pokemon seems to be a couple months ahead of Magic as far as the big boom happened in Pokemon before it happened in Magic, which is actually kind of a good thing for Magic, because Magic does have that second layer of people actually play the game. There are very few people actually play Pokemon. It's all collectible. People want to catch them all. It goes into binders, and there isn't that demand from playing. Whereas Magic has that very healthy format called Commander, and it also does have healthy formats in the form of people still playing Modern, Pioneer, Historic, all those things. So, so the ability for Magic to stay a more stable is a lot higher than it is for Pokemon, but it doesn't also have that craze that Pokemon does as far as the collectabilities are concerned. So, all in all, though, that's kind of my outlet for the market. It's a good sign that we aren't just going to keep seeing 20% crashes like we've seen. This is normal for a summer month, so I don't think that people should begin to panic. Another site that I really suggest that you take a look at is this MTG Stocks. MTG Stocks has some great analytics here, and in their analytics section is this all-time high-low. A good bearing on the market is if you see a mirrored highs and lows, you should see older sets accruing value, which we're seeing. I've got it kind of sorted by sets. We have Double Masters starting to go up. We have some of these older sets, Judge Promos, Khans of Tarkir. Look at the fetch lines, just go crazy, the ones that weren't reprinted in Modern Horizons. We see a lot across the board of cards that are actually starting to go up in value, and we are seeing what we should be seeing in the all-time low, being the main bulk of these all-time low are going to be recent sets like Time Spiral, like the list cards that have been included, like Strixhaven. And we have, Secret Layers continue to go down, and Modern Horizons 2. That's basically the bulk, Commander 2021. The bulk of the cards that are going down in value are the ones that should be, because these are still on the market. So that's a good sign for Magic the Gathering. When there's a bad sign is when you see like foils or other big collectibles going down in value. Oftentimes you'll see like Judge Promos here. I believe it was 2018 when we had the big foil crash, where when you make everything special, nothing is special. And you're not really seeing that with all-time lows for the MG stocks, which again is a very, very good sign. And very, very good sign too with the semi-older products. So look at with the mystery booster going up in value. Some of these Judge Double Masters, that's kind of the big ones that are starting to go up in value. So it's a bad news when all you see right here too is just reserve list cards, which seems to be a pretty healthy mix of the where you can actually pull from for cards that are going up from the analytics side. So MG Stocks has a lot of good. You can also see cards that have gone up. It's pretty much sixes here with MG Goldfish. MG Goldfish still is kind of my go-to for going and looking for the quick movers and shakers to see what's spiking and what is going down. Another good health indicator is if the weekly change on like a format like Modern is up rather than down. That's always a good indicator. So we have $2 at the low here, $7 at the low on the weekly change. If we expand this, we can go the full page at $1.83 for the lowest up. And if we go over to the weekly losers, it's all the way down to $1.08. So it's slightly higher in the scope of winners versus losers. And again, that is showing a pretty healthy market, comparatively speaking, with where we've been with just where it needs to come back down to earth anyway. So this is a very, very good sign for Magic the Gathering. Typically, I'm the Debbie Downer and the sky is falling. So there's another indicator. If I'm quite bullish rather than bearish on a summer month for the health of the game, I think we're in for a good treat here. So Magic has continued to grow. We have seen this is in spite of Magic the Gathering making very, very terrible decisions. I still think Wizard of the Coast is one of the most inept out of touch companies, we've seen people like even Tulane Community College just become negative and negative and negative and negative. Just so many videos he's put out or tweets in the past he's put out. And typically he's been a big cheerleader of Wizards of the Coast. But yeah, they've made some terrible, terrible decisions, from the complete axing of the kind of pro scene, which, spoiler, I'll have to do a rant video here. I've had some insider information about the pro scene. And you guys want to guess? You want to take a shot on what their main reasoning, not cost, not lack of people wanting to play in the pro scene, but no joke, from some internal murmurings and internal memos where I've been privy of hearing some of this insider info, is the main reason they got rid of the pro scene. Wait for it, brace yourself, because it's a breeding ground for white supremacy and misogyny. I cannot make this stuff up. I am not making this up. There have been some murmurings that it's been a breeding ground. They've been just perpetuating this stuff because their lack of, when they tried to just push, I mean, this is in the territory for a Rogue Rants video. Typically, I like to kind of separate these from my other videos because some people come here for the market advice. They don't share my perspective or, my politics or whatnot. And so I typically try to differentiate between the two in videos, but I think this is worth talking about in the market because Wizards of the Coast can't help themselves but make bad decision. I mean, it's been since at least 2015, 2016, there was a huge cultural shift of who they hired. They got rid of some very key people in Wizards of the Coast, replaced them with check marks instead, checking off boxes, and it hasn't aged well. And especially when they made that huge jump with their pro scene to try to have more representation, and the viewership just gone down, the frustration kept going up. And unfortunately, Wizards need to learn the hard way that if you cater to the loudmouths, if you cater to the people that don't, even you give special privileges, that they themselves will eventually start, biting the hands that feed. And that's where we saw a lot of the murmurings, a lot of the disgruntled stuff was coming from the very people that they tried to prop up, that then bit the hand that feed and then accused Wizards of the Coast. Because that's unfortunately what happens with a lot of the parasites in the various communities is you give them the special handouts, they're like, oh yeah, you're being the loudmouth, let's see if we can actually address your concerns. They still don't get the status or usually people that lash out, it comes from an internal bearing of not being able to be okay with themselves. They're not okay with themselves, so they lash out at others. It's called projection. It's the psychological term that is used for when people have an internal feeling of hate or seeing themselves in a bad image or a lesser image. They project it on others because they can't tolerate that feeling themselves. And I think that's what we're really seeing from Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering Pro Scene is they are given so much of an advantage or so many ways to enter in if you weren't white or male. There was a lot of ways to actually be perpetuated ahead, and that didn't lead to the results, the kind of the equity results that they were looking for. And so instead of looking internally and being like, well, what did we do to not deserve this? It's then going back and saying, oh, well, it's got to be misogyny and white supremacy. This led to us failing. So it's funny that that's the main reason that Wizards of the Coast has gotten rid of competitive play is because of the supposed breeding ground for misogyny and white supremacy and all the toxicity involved in it. And I'm the first to say there was a lot of toxicity in the kind of the pro scene. I think that it hit the nail on the head when, admittedly, one of the most toxic people in all of Magic the Gathering, which is, poker player, now I can't even think of his name, Eric, when he did his post on Channel Fireball about how the guy should have scooped to him because it wasn't in his best interest to make, to not scoop to a pro because then he's going to tell all his pro friends and they're never going to scoop to him to get him in on the top 8. So basically the scenario was this guy had already locked into top 8. I'd already locked into, I believe, going first in the top 8, and rather than giving a free win to a pro, he decided to play it out, ended up knocking the pro out, and the pro went on a little little rampage about how this was just the stupidest thing a person could have done because he's burned all his bridges. And I saw that firsthand in the pro scene where there was a lot of helping each other out. I remember back before they ended up having to ban entries to PTQs where you already had a Pro Tour invite. So pros that already had an invite would join a PTQ to try to dream crush for other people, to try to get their other pro friends in. So what they try to do is they try to rack up a winning record, and then when they were paired with their pro friend, they would scoop to them, and that would give them a free buy, and eventually you get your entire team into the Pro Tour. And so I get it. There was a lot of like angle shooting as far as that is concerned in this kind of good old boys club, which was worthwhile speaking. But I mean, you can address that rather than, go the whole blanket that it's, all these other isms that are causing people for not getting their equity results they want. All right, so that's a bit enough tirade and politics back on the Rogue Market channel. But that's just to give you one kind of example of where Wizards just gone completely the wrong way. And it's funny because they're being criticized for the same people that want to champion these kind of equity results. When you have Toledo Community College that's fully on flesh and blood because they have a pro scene, and they're trying to kind of enable that competitive play, and he's actively crapping on Wizards of the Coast for not doing that. These people that you're going to, scratch that itch at, you're going to feed the loudmouths with what you think their perceived results they want. They're just going to jump ship anyway. So Wizards of the Coast needs to learn that the hard way. They need to learn they can't pander to the people that are just continually trying to shame and blame and break down the kind of the structure that was done before. Whereas you have things like Flesh and Blood that actually looks like they're in a very good position with their Flesh and Blood tournament. So I need to actually do a video on kind of the road to the pro scene, road to, I can't remember what they call it in Flesh and Blood, but it's kind of a little catchy phrase. It must not be catchy if I can't remember what it is. But anyway, Flesh and Blood is going all in on tournaments. They're having their own GP type events. And it's at the local level, it's at the regional level, it's at the pro level. They're trying to really cater to the cultivation of a pro scene, where Magic the Gathering is just throwing their hands up in the air and being like, you know what, we're done. We're done trying to do this. We're just going to focus on Commander. We're just going to focus on more of the casual aspect, which actually is working for them. But I don't think why they can't have their cake and eat it too in this aspect, why they can't actually cultivate their modern scene. Remember, 2014 through 2016, Modern was their bread and butter. It was the reason to Magic. There was a vibrant, GPs had record attendance during that time period. This is still something. You do not eat the chicken that lays the golden eggs. This is what they've kind of done, is they've eaten the chicken that lays the golden eggs. And even if Commander has been the bread and butter, if it has been the focal point, that doesn't mean to say that we can't go back to the good old years where Standard and Modern were pulling their own weight as well. So anyway, that's some food for thought with Wizards of the Coast, that in despite of all of these poor decisions, these terrible decisions, how has this been working out for them to be trying to focus on this kind of activism company, and in despite of all of this, they're still doing quite well. So Forgotten Realms should be a knockout out of the park set. There's a lot of still people over the pandemic that really got into D&D. I think this will be a great crossover set. I have nothing against crossover sets. A lot of people hate them. A lot of people think that Magic should stay Magic and whatnot. But all in all, I think that, what's good for the goose is good for the gander here, and getting more people that are more D&D oriented back into Magic is going to be a good move for them. So I'm expecting a lot of buzz around Forgotten Realms. I think it's going to be a pretty good summer set as far as attendance and as far as sales are concerned, which we could see like a bump what we saw with War of the Spark and Dominaria, with a lot of people who haven't played Magic in a while, or a lot of newcomers getting into the game. So that's what I have for you. End up being kind of a big rant here for this particular video. Hopefully I didn't take everyone off with my little rant on kind of world events here, or political events here. But Wizards, get your act together. These people aren't going to pay I just don't understand why Wizards continues to hate its demographic, its main demographic. Yeah, it doesn't have to be exclusive. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there are better ways of going about this than just trying to throw out the baby with the bathwater, which they've done with kind of the pro scene. Well, instead, they should just focus on those completely toxic elements. Why are some people continued to be that's the thing they should have gone. These little groups, these little cliques, rather than just saying, oh, well, we don't know what causes this. It must just be our entire structure. Let's just, if you guys aren't capable of being responsible enough, we'll just take away your toys, which is kind of what they've done with the entire pro scene. And eventually that will come to bite them. They really should be striving for that competitive scene to get Magic the Gathering going again. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. If not, leave me that thumbs down or the comment in the comment section below. Be sure to like, subscribe. We're going to try to revive these channels. So a little bit of spoiler alert. Someone's actually paying me to give a seminar. There's a local college that's paying me to give a seminar on how to start a successful YouTube channel. And I kind of joke that, you know, I know how to kill a successful YouTube channel with my inactivity and whatnot. So I do want to focus more on this. But yeah, I've said that a billion times on this channel. I know it's never yielded any results here, but that is kind of my goal for the summer here. The midsummer goal is to do more consistent videos. So be looking for those on the 3 channels, the Rogue Market, Gone Rogue Games, and this channel, the Rogue Deck Builder. As always, thanks for watching.